Hello, and welcome to Ask Me About K-Pop, the essential guide for recent converts and seasoned fans alike. My name is Shannon, and I am joined by my co-host and best pal, Angelica. Angelica, how are you?
I'm doing great, Shannon. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. Today we have a kind of interesting episode in that, I thought that it would end up being a really fun episode, but it actually feels like the research
Ended up
depressing.
Being pretty sad.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about something that you may not know if you haven't been in K-pop a super long time, but not all K-pop idols are Korean.
Very true.
Or from Korea if they are Korean.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some of them might be Korean, but Korean American or Korean Canadian. Some of them are Japanese or Thai. There's a huge variety.
Yeah, so we just wanted to spend some time shouting out the foreign idols and how their experience is different from other native born Korean idols. And so.
Yeah. But we're not going to just run down a list because it's the first thing that you will see as soon as you type in non-Korean idol or foreign idol into Google. There's so many.
Yeah. There's more than you'd think.
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah. There's 50 or more in groups do you have that list open? You want to just
I do.
Just shout out some of the groups that have foreign members.
Okay. GOT7, SNSD, FX17, B2B, UKISS, Day6, Super Junior, IOI, Epic High, Nine Muses, Stray Kids, Blackpink, CLC, Twice, EXO, NCT, Pentagon, Cross Gene, MIB.
The list goes on.
It just goes on.
So we're thinking at first of talking a little bit about how some of these idols ended up in K-pop in the first place, right? Especially an idol who maybe is all the way from the United States, like Tiffany from Girls' Generation, for example, is from the U.S. Isn't Jessica from the U.S. as well?
That's true.
And so how would someone that's all the way from a different continent end up as a Korean idol?
I was trying to look into the historical context to see when foreign idols started being a thing. And I could have sworn that Tony from HOT was American just because his name was Tony. But I couldn't find any evidence of him being anywhere but in Korea. But GOD, which was a late end first generation group, had technically three Americans in it. Two were born in America, one was born in Korea and grew up in America. Mm-hmm. So they had three Korean American members, which was something. But the first one I could find that was actually kind of a huge deal is a member of Super Junior. His name is Hanging. Mm-hmm. And he was Chinese, and he got cast to be in Super Junior. And the original concept of Super Junior was that it was supposed to be rotating and always in a Menudo style, young. So the first Super Junior debuted as Super Junior 06 because that's
because they were the original group members for that group, but then eventually those members would graduate and they'd get a new cast
but
or
that
whatever.
Never happened. But they debuted with this Chinese guy Hang, and a month or two into their first promotions, someone got wind that he did not have the right visa, that SM didn't know. Because no one had ever done this before. They didn't quite know all the rules between all the international stuff. So this kid could not perform on TV. He wasn't legally allowed to, but they were what can we do? So they literally put him in a full mask, Jabberwocky style, so that he could keep doing the promotions. But most people didn't even know he was in the group because they couldn't acknowledge him. And he was
wearing
a mask.
Wow, that's so...
Until they got all his paperwork settled out.
I mean, I guess it's a creative solution.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's really the most efficient or appropriate solution, but
and it had a deep effect on him that lasted through his tenure in the group, and he sued to get out of it a couple of years later.
I'm sure that was pretty traumatic for him.
Yeah.
I mean, especially because most of these idols train and debut as teenagers. You're very young and impressionable, and then it's you made it to this group, but we must hide your face.
Yeah, and I read about him, which I think you might have in your notes, similar stories that he, he made this audition to go be a pop star in Korea, but his parents were super poor, and he didn't have the heart to ask anyone for anything, so he showed up in Korea with not a dime in his pocket, spoke no Korean at all, and just had to make it work.
Yes, I read. Well, there are a couple different stories of people just risking it all and going to Korea. Like Tiffany did that. She initially auditioned at Tiffany's from California, and she initially auditioned at like an SM Global audition in LA, but her family was really against her going and moving to Korea and being an idol. And when she was 15, she decided to do it anyway. So she like passed the audition and just hopped on a plane and like she is Korean American, but she didn't have a super solid grasp on the language. And so like she said that she had a really hard time moving over. But yeah. Should we just talk about a couple different casting stories?
If you have some casting stories, I'd be interested as to like how these people like get involved in K-pop at all, especially the types. I mean, we'll get into it, but like there are a lot of people who are not only not
Oh yeah, not only are they not Korean nationals, they also maybe are not even Asian. Is that what you're thinking?
Or there's a couple of those, too. But I was also thinking like Amber from FX.
Oh yeah, she is
from America,
Chinese-American.
and so
and then there's the groups that are like. Yeah, well, I guess that would be kind of similar to someone coming straight from Thailand or China.
Right.
But just like the nature of the melting pot of America
makes
it different, whatever. Like,
no, because
they're not white, but they're not.
Yeah, but they have like Western. They like grew up in American. They're Western.
That's
what
the
I
word.
needed.
That's the word we're looking for. So there's obviously a lot of Western idols, like Tiffany I just mentioned. Also from Girls' Generation is Jessica, and then Amber from FX.
And Jessica's sister, Crystal.
Oh, yeah, Crystal from FX as well. And then Joshua from 17. Vernon was born in the U.S., but then, like, moved to Korea when he was, like, 4 or 5. But so I was kind of disappointed, to be honest, because I thought that there would be more, like, interesting stories of how most people got cast, especially because in Korea there's, like, you know, the idols that are Korean, they like whatever some of them have interesting stories, but they're mostly boring. A lot of people just did it through like an SM global
there's
audition.
Global auditions.
Yeah, like that's how Wendy's Canadian and Chris Wu is Canadian too. I honestly didn't know Chris was Canadian. I thought he was just Chinese.
No.
But anyway, so like Chris and Wendy and Jessica and Tiffany, like they just did global auditions, and then there were a couple of people who got cast just like in their neighborhoods, like Vernon, he was spotted waiting outside a subway station, middle school. Like June, also from 17, he's Chinese, he was scouted at a convenience store with his friends. So yeah, there weren't like a lot of super interesting casting stories. Lisa from Blackpink, I noted her because she auditioned at one of the like YG global auditions in Thailand 2010, and she was the only one who passed. So that is very significant. But then the only one that I found sort of like a shocking story of making it on your own was Luhan, because he well, it kind of depends on like who wrote the article. Some people just say that he like changed schools, and then some people are like he dropped out of high school. So it kind of depends on your take. But anyway, he did leave his high school in Beijing at 15, and he moved to Korea to become. He enrolled in the Yonsei University Language School, and that's how he started learning Korean. But when he left China, he left to audition and become an idol, and he auditioned at JYP, and he didn't get accepted, and then he was just like a student at school learning Korean, and then he was scouted out like at a market or somewhere by SM, and that's how he ended up with SM. But his was the only sort of like surprising story that I found.
The global auditions thing is interesting because it seems like they might be expanding these global auditions to like newer places, because when I was looking for lists of foreign idols, I found that JYP's new group Stray Kids has 2 Australians in it. They're like Korean Australians, and they like were cast in Australia at like a global audition in Australia.
One of the members of Blackpink also was auditioned. She's not Australian, but she was living in Australia for a while. I think it was Rosé.
That sounds right to me too.
And she, I think, auditioned in Australia, but I could be wrong. But she is Korean. Right. She was just living with her dad in Australia, I believe.
Oh, New Zealand.
New Zealand.
Yeah. Sorry, people in Australia and New Zealand. I know you guys don't like that. Oh, wait. She did both. Both. Let's see. She was born in New Zealand, and raised in Australia. Hey, there we go. So we got both.
Oh, well, then the article I read was wrong. I read an article that said she was Korean, but was just living in Australia. But she should have been on our list.
She should have been.
Idols.
I'm putting it on the list right now so
For
that
future
I won't
reference.
forget. But obviously, like, this is, you say you are cool kid, California kid, want to be a Korean Idol or whatever. Like, it seems like a lot of these people don't speak Korean, or if they did, it was very little, or or people who like straight up didn't. Like, I think that's probably one of the biggest challenges for like a non-Korean idol is that like, because people give them shit about it too. Like I didn't realize this. I probably should have known this, but like 3 girls in Twice are Japanese. And they get people get very mad about their pronunciation a lot. Like, so like that's an added pressure of like being able to communicate, but then to like perform in this language properly so that you like don't.
Yeah, I mean, not only do you have to learn how to like sing in this language, you also have to learn, you're going to have to do all of your promotions in this language. Like, you have to go, we've talked before about how like Yixing, for example, from EXO, like when he's on a variety show, sometimes it looks like he tunes out because everybody starts talking over each other. And since Korean's like his third language, he doesn't have like as great of a grasp on it. So it's just constantly surrounding you, and you have to do all of your training in this language too. And I just can't imagine how difficult that must be for those artists. And there are many of them who go to Korea to be an idol to train and have not one word of Korean. I did look in to see like, how do these people learn Korean? And like, it's pretty self-explanatory. Like, most companies just give you a tutor or sign you up for classes. There are a few exceptions where like, Joshua, for example, in 17, like he's from the U.S. and so he didn't have to take Korean language lessons per se, but because he grew up speaking Korean in the house and then English at school, but he doesn't know how to write in Korean, so he had to take certain like writing classes or whatever. Tiffany had to like get sort of like her own tutor to brush up because her Korean wasn't as good as the rest, even though she did understand it. Lisa from Blackpink, like I mentioned before, she credits a lot of her Korean to Korean dramas.
Okay,
she said
so
that,
like same stuff for like all the idols who say they learned English watching TV. Like it goes the other way.
Yeah, absolutely. She did take classes like, what is she? YG like signed her up for classes, but she also credits dramas and her members for helping like teach her. I mean, I'm sure that's really helpful because like you live with your members and they're obviously speaking Korean all the time, so. Just the immersion aspect, most people, I think, end up learning pretty quickly. Like, the one other person I wrote down was Tao from EXO, formerly of EXO. He's from China, and he was one of the EXO web members. When he first joined EXO, he was one of the later additions to the group, and he didn't speak a word of Korean. And he, when he first met Xiumin, he called him Oppa because he only knew like a couple of words from K-dramas. So he was like, 안녕하세요, Oppa. And Xiumin thought he was a girl at first and was like, so there was like adorable miscommunications happening.
That is always, I think that's like half of the like fun, and like I guess like there's a way you could like view it as mean-spirited, but I feel like it's usually fun when like a foreign member mixes up words or whatever. Everybody thinks it's really like charming and precious.
Yeah, at least the members per se, or the members specifically are like they always think it's really cute and are like supportive or to try and like help correct them or something. But it's always mentioned. I feel like foreign idols, no matter where they go, like can't escape the comments on their accents or their pronunciations or their misspeaks. Like, I remember when we were watching We Got Married, and Nikun and Victoria were both a couple, or were a couple together, and Nikun is from Thailand and Victoria is from China, and so they were like the foreigner couple, and almost every single comment from the MCs was about like how
foreign they were.
Yeah, or like, oh, they've never tried this, or like, how are they going to communicate at the market? They're both foreigners, or like, oh, neither of them know the word,
so well
or whatever.
For foreigners, or they're speaking so bad for foreigners.
Yeah. It was everywhere.
It it has to come up all the time. And then I also think it's funny, like in the case of Vernon, where he looks like a foreigner, but like he's about as Korean as you get. And like people will be like, but you speak Korean so good. And he'll be like, yeah, I went to elementary school and middle school and high school. Like, this is where I live.
Yes.
And they're like, but you look white. Like,
He's like, yeah, my dad's Korean and I grew up here and I've done my entire school career here. Like,
yeah, or I
poor
think it's
kid.
extra funny just because like we speak English and it's like not a big deal. But I love when like natural born English speaking members
they
of
get
things
so much
they
credit
get so
for
much
their
credit
English.
for speaking English well. It's so weird.
Yeah.
Like, what was it? It was on that. Oh, we were watching a 17 Club. And they were like, Joshua, say work and life balance. And then he
Yes.
said work and life balance. And they were like, oh my God, he's so
They're all
good at English.
His pronunciation is incredible. And you're like, yeah, he's American. He has the most Valley Girl lilt to his voice I've ever heard.
So that's like our first like hardship or, challenge hurdle for like a foreign idol is like, gotta learn a language that you don't speak.
But I will say that most of those idols, like even though they do struggle at first to learn it, they learn it really quickly. Like Tao's members claim that he became fluent in Korean within the year and was like sleep talking in Korean. And like a lot of they pick it up really fast. I know like The 8 mentioned that he like picked it up really fast as soon as they were in whatever. They're like 24-hour training. It's such an immersive experience.
Yeah, if if it's your job to learn how to speak, then like I could see it be relatively easy to do so.
Yeah. But unfortunately, they also face a variety of other struggles.
Oh, of course.
Do we want to get into the financial aspect of it this time, or do we want to
No,
save
I
that
think it's
for
really
something
interesting.
else?
I think it's really interesting. We could at the very least talk about what like Sorn brought up or like whatever, because I think it's interesting.
Okay. So should we talk about that first, or should we talk about racism first?
Oh God. I don't know. This is all depressing.
You know what? Let's start with racism because I'm
were
sorry
sort
that
of
I'm
already
laughing
on the
about that,
topic.
but that's
No.
not funny. But Sorn has a. Oh, are you planning to edit this out? Is that why you're eating?
No, I couldn't
Oh,
tell
okay.
if you were planning to edit it out or not.
I wasn't. I was just talking. Soren's at least has kind of a happy ending. It like ends upliftingly, and the story that I have regarding racism doesn't have a happy ending. I'm really sorry for laughing through that. it's
It's fine. It's uncomfortable.
but yeah. So anyway, let's end.
So we were
with
just talking about. Yeah, we were just talking about like the struggles, and like I was just saying, people get shit for their pronunciation, or like they get criticized a little harder. So like there's an angle of racism in this, yes? Like
yeah, and a lot of foreign idols or like non-Korean idols do admit that they feel like they are more so under the microscope than their Korean counterparts or their Korean members, simply because they are not Korean.
Right.
But they are in the Korean public eye, so the Korean public is paying almost more attention to them to see like what are they going to do.
Right.
I read one really sad story from I believe her name is pronounced Faye. Maybe it's Fee.
I'm almost positive it's Faye from Miss A.
From Miss A.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's a Chinese member, and she told this story once about how in her like kind of early debut days, someone came up to her and asked her, I think it was like I don't remember if it was at it wasn't like a fan sign or something, but it was some event, some promotional event that she was at. And someone came up to her and asked her how often she showered and if she was dirty, because they had this stereotype that Chinese people only showered once a week. And they like accused her of showering only once a week. And she was shocked and surprised that stereotype even existed. It was something she hadn't heard before, and was just like devastated that there she was, like brand new K-pop idol, and someone's
That's
accusing
so
her of
sad
being
and
dirty.
weird.
Ugh, so sad.
Because I feel like anything I say, I don't want it to be like excusing this behavior, but also like I live in America. We know about racism. Ugh, no,
They have complicated global history, I guess, as every country does. But I think that there are a lot of examples where, like, we were talking about Vernon earlier and how people think that he's a foreigner or whatever, and he talks a lot about how when he was growing up, and this isn't specifically to do with him being an idol because like he is a Korean citizen, so he kind of almost doesn't even really count as like a foreign idol,
right?
Because he is Korean,
right?
And he is a
but he gets treated like one.
Yes, he does get treated like one, and he talks a lot about how when he was growing up in elementary school, like other kids just like in his school were completely separate from him being a trainee or an idol or anything, like would always give him a really hard time about the way that he looked, and like people would treat him differently just because he doesn't look Korean.
Right. But then on the same side of that, like Eric Nam, who's from Atlanta, Georgia, said was talking when We Got Married, his Solar, his wife, was asking him like, what was it like growing up in America? And he was like, kids were shitty to me because I was Asian. And she was like, what?
Yeah,
like,
they would like make fun of, they would like change the shape of their eyes and ask me if I could see. And it's like, yeah, growing up in America, I've heard a lot of people say stupid shit like that to Asian classmates. Like, racism is
I think the point
people.
is that people are just like fucking racist.
It doesn't matter where you're from. There's racism everywhere.
Boo.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But most of these idols that we've been talking about, like they are, whether they're Korean or not, all the idols that we've mentioned so far have been at least Asian in some way, like whether they're Chinese or Japanese or Thai, or like Korean American, Chinese American. And there are very few idols who are not Asian at all.
Right.
And
like
one of
four
them
total, right? Or the whole EXP expedition maybe adds a couple more.
I think that the conclusion is they don't count.
They don't count.
I think the conclusion has been that they do not count as a K-pop act.
Okay.
I certainly don't consider them to be a K-pop
Fair
act.
enough, me
I
either.
mean, like, maybe this is a debatable opinion, but I feel like you have to have at least one Korean person in your group.
I think that's
to
a fair,
be, like, I don't know. I just
at
feel
least
like you
one.
do.
Yeah.
But then there's the whole NCT China thing coming out, so I guess that kind of
Who knows?
that contradicts my statement just now, but
Anyway.
that's a debate for another day.
Non-Korean K-pop idol, like non-Asian K-pop
Non-Asian
idols.
K-pop idols, there are very few. And one particular person who we brought up once before when we got Rainia as our random play
Yes.
group, we like saw a brief mention of this girl named
And
Alex
people
Reed.
tweeted us and they were like, you don't know about Alex? And
I was like,
nope,
I don't
we
know
don't.
anything about Rainia. Like, why would I know anything about this person? But anyway, now I know everything about her. Her name is Alexandra Reed, and she's from Kansas. So this is a girl, I believe I know that she's at least part African American, but I believe that she's mixed. But she is of African American background, and she is from Kansas, like I just said. And she joined Rainia in 2015. And she joined Rainia like after. It was her debut, but it wasn't Rainia's debut. It was one of their comebacks. And it was after like a lineup change, right? So like several members had left, and then she and I think 3 other members were added, and they came back with Demonstrate, right? Which is the song that you and I both love. So in November of 2015, Demonstrate comes out, and on November 4th, the music video was released, and Alex wasn't in it at all. She's in the song, and she has a whole verse, and she wasn't in the music video at all. And the company claimed that she wasn't in it because of visa issues, and that's why she couldn't be there when they filmed it. So then on November 11th, like a few days later, they re-released the video. It was exactly the same, except that when it came to her verse, and she's a rapper, so when it came to her verse, they just like cut in these shots that they had filmed of her like alone on a roof, and it was in black and white, and none of the rest of the music video is in black and white. It looks really weird. It makes her look like a featured artist, and when you look up the music video on the YouTube, that's not what comes up. Like the original
the one without her
is the one that comes up. You have to find the modified version in order to find the one that she's in. And for the live version of it, when they finally did it on Music Core or M Countdown or whatever, like, she's not in the choreography. She comes out from the back, like, to do her rap, and then she, like, leaves and then comes back in at the end. Yeah, it's really weird. She looks like a featured artist the entire time. It's really upsetting. So, like, that was when she first came out with them. So, like, from the beginning, she always
They weren't really including her
from the
jump.
beginning, it seems like she's always kind of been on the outside. And then, of course, like, she had a whole bunch of different, like, racist comments thrown at her. Like, she first debuted and she had really big curly hair, and then when they did a comeback, her hair was like straightened, and so people were like, they accused her of skin bleaching, and they accused her of like whitewashing herself, to which she responded, I had to straighten my hair, nobody here knew what to do with my hair, so like I have to do it myself. I just straightened it to make all of our lives easier. And then they also this poor girl, so Rainia, she's not the only non-Korean member in Rainia. They also have a Chinese member.
Okay.
And after Demonstrate came out, she was in 2016. So in 2016, the remaining 3 original members of Rainia leave.
Okay.
So that's when they rebrand themselves as BP Rainia.
Because this is a whole new,
No
original
members. So that's why they're renamed BP Rainia. And Alex is named the leader. So she's the leader of the group.
Okay.
And so then they like are doing this. They're about to start promoting their new comeback, and they're doing this photo shoot where they're all dressed in hanbok. And so many netizens, like internet fans, screamed at her for cultural appropriation, like that she shouldn't be wearing hanbok. Not one person criticized the Chinese member of this group for wearing it. And also I like laughed when I read that today, because I was like, are you kidding me? You're accusing this black girl of cultural appropriation in K-pop, when K-pop culturally appropriates black culture like nothing else. Like, don't even get me started on those fucking braided hats. Like, we're just gonna move right along. We're gonna move right along. So this poor girl, she's named the leader. 2016, they come out with something called Start a Fire, and fans are immediately criticizing and saying like, hey, she's not in any of the choreography. Like, pretty much consistently since Demonstrate, since she's the rapper, she's almost always kept separate and like featured in the songs as coming out in the choreography during her part, and that's it. And so the choreographer, after the fans came out and started being like, hey, what's going on? Like, why isn't she featured in this? The choreographer blamed Alex and like threw her under the bus and said that the only reason that she wasn't included in the choreography is because she said that she doesn't need to because she's the rapper, and that it was her choice and a personal decision on her part. Like, wouldn't the company want her to be a part of it? Like, duh. And Alex came out and was like, this is ridiculous, and if these lies keep being spread, then I'm going to come out and reveal everything. Eventually, what ended up happening was that she just left. So like 2 months later, she was removed from promotions. So she stopped promoting this comeback where she was finally named the leader. And then like 6 months later, in August of 2016, she had left, and she lives in America now.
Ugh. That's all too much.
So it's funny because in my research, I saw so many, like, what was mostly suggested was like how to become a K-pop idol if you are not Korean. And I was like, no, this isn't what I'm looking for. But also as a warning to all of you people who are Googling that, like, maybe don't. It seems like it's really hard.
So an interesting thing about another way that foreign idols are like not equal to their Korean counterparts is with how much they get paid. And this was all sort of like exposed by Soren from CLC late last year, which I thought was really cool of her. But she was being very like, she wasn't being accusatory. It was sort of like she saw that there's just like this accounting bullshit that like people up high get to decide, and like people in governments get to decide, and it has like the decisions of like an individual company or whatever.
It all has to do with international laws.
Yes. So Soren was explaining in this video.
Soren is from CLC and she's Thailand. She's from Thailand.
She's Thai. Yes. And she was explaining that like there's a lot of different ways that like people get paid from like making music. And like all the money that like say CLC goes on a tour, like all the money that they make from concert tickets, like it has to be split up like a million different ways, like between the venues and like whatever. But separate from that, are royalty payments, which is like my husband works in this industry, which is that like when music gets played in things, it's on a commercial, it's in a wherever, people get a cut for like that music being used. And in Korea, especially, like in this was one of their attempts to make, for this whole Hallyu wave to like make Korean pop culture like awesome, is that if music gets played in a coffee shop, if it gets played at the noraebang, at the karaoke room, like people make money off of every single play. Like you can't play music for free, basically. Like everybody gets paid off of it. So royalty payments. Soren was explaining that it's like there's like 4 different types of royalty payments. And type A is like streaming royalties, like for your iTunes, your Spotify, or whatever. So all the Thai kids were getting all of their Spotify streamings, but the other 3 streamings, the cafe ones, the whatever, were not eligible for them because of like some kind of Thai law with the South Korean law, and they like can't.
It's because they weren't Korean citizens, and the country hadn't yet signed an agreement with Korea in order to ensure that they were, in fact, paid those royalties. But then she got in touch with the
like board, what was it?
Yeah, she got in touch with the Federation of Korean Music Performers, which is a nonprofit organization. It's basically like a union for musicians, and the whole purpose of it is to register artists for royalties and help protect their intellectual property. So if artists are registered members with the FKMP, then the FKMP will make sure that they like work with that artist's country in order to make sure that all of the laws are in place for them to get paid what they're owed. And like, so as Soren was explaining, with Thailand in particular, because Cube, her company, Cube themselves register all of their artists with the FKMP. Like they do it themselves, and to make sure that all of their artists are represented by this group. But not all of the companies do that. And really the artist is supposed to register themselves. So a lot of non-Korean idols don't know that they're supposed to do that, and so like they actually aren't getting this money saved for them.
Soren said in the video that like she asked Lisa from Blackpink, like, does this happen to you? And Lisa was like, well, they told me when I signed my contract that I just wouldn't get paid as much and not to worry about it. And she was like, well, that might be fine for Lisa, but it wasn't fine for me.
It wasn't fine for me. So she went and she called this federation, and basically what they do, it's really cool. They're a neat organization. They have partnerships with companies similar or organizations similar to themselves all around the world, in order to make sure that like pretty much almost every single country in the world that Korea works with, as far as making music, like has some kind of partnership with this organization. But since Soren, for example, is a member of this with this organization, they take all those B, C, and D loyalties, right? So like the 4 types of loyalties, she's only paid A. So this organization will take B, C, and D and collect it from Cube and keep it in a trust for her, because they're also a trust management organization. And so they keep it in a trust for her until the agreement with Thailand goes through. And so once it is legally allowed for her to be paid that amount of money, it will be there waiting for her when she's ready. But someone like Lisa, who's not a member of this group, doesn't have that trust waiting for her. Which she should really get on that, because Blackpink is probably raking it in.
I don't know. I mean, YG's got money problems, so who knows?
But they are one of the big 3,
That's
so
true.
their groups get paid right from debut.
Yes. So, and that's something very interesting as well.
But one utterly depressing thing I found out about this Federation of Korean Music Performers is that they don't have any partnerships with China. It's one of the only countries in the whole world that doesn't have a partnership in order to protect their artists.
I mean,
it was really difficult to find any information about ways that China protects their artists.
Yeah, that was like I think one of the things. I mean, I don't know how much like time or whatever we have, or if we want to save some of this for another episode. But like both of us were like very angry this week about how Chinese members of groups that we love were being treated, and we're just getting really cranky about like why do the Chinese ones seem to get treated the worst? And it seems like because maybe they have no legal protection to do so. And that all the companies are like raking it in off of them for all their Chinese promotions, so they get like overworked.
They do end up making a lot of. I think that there's lack of protection on both sides, really, like the Korean and Chinese fronts, because actually both sides are making a ton of money off of these members or off of these idols. Like, not only does the Korean company like make a significant portion or percentage of the profit like based off of all of their solo activities, no matter what they are, but also a lot of Chinese companies are invested in the Korean entertainment industry. And so like one of the companies, oh shoot, I forgot to write it down and I can't remember what it's the company that does Astro and Weki Meki.
They're like, aren't they on the teeter of bankruptcy at the moment?
No, they got
now?
bought out by their Chinese investors, and so the president of the company got kicked out, and that's why the Lucky EP of Weki Meki was postponed. It was eventually released, but it was postponed because basically Chinese investors bought it and eventually bought a majority share of this company, kicked out their Korean president, and replaced it with a Chinese president. And then like there was a lot of uproar in the company. But so there's significant Chinese investment in the K-pop and Hallyu like industry. So I think that they just like these poor Chinese idols, they end up getting caught in the crosshairs.
Yeah, because it's like they have to be popular in both places, and so they end up like working twice as much. And,
I know.
And it's also, I don't know. And it's so different the way that like both countries like operate and things, and like, like I've seen that the Chinese idols can't speak Korean on Chinese TV, like, and that like that all like that's a weird thing they have to like watch out for, where they like spend their lives in this other country like speaking one language, and then they have to go home and do Chinese TV and like not slip up, and like I don't know, I'm sad, and I just want everyone to go home to their moms, which is a thing I know they don't get to do, which is like also really sad.
They never get to see their parents.
Because like already like the Korean idols don't get to see their parents very much. You hear them say that like they work too much. But like I remember on Roommate, it was like one of the biggest like moments in the second season of Roommate. Jackson hadn't seen his mom in 2.5 years. Like hadn't seen her in 2.5 years. So like JYP and the whole like roommate house like surprised him with his parents. And I've never seen anyone cry like that. And then like they were having a big Christmas party, but Jackson just laid up in his bed with his mom. Like, it's so sad.
That's really sweet.
I know, it's very sweet. But like, I don't know, they have dreams. Kids have dreams, and they like do.
I know.
They'll suffer for their dreams.
They will, and they do.
And they do. I don't know. I don't know how to even like end this.
Well, we said that it had a happy ending. Oh, we continued talking after the happy ending and made it sad again.
Oh, yeah.
We brought it back down. The happy ending was supposed to be that Sorn has worked with this organization and that Thailand did sign the agreement.
Right.
So the happy ending was supposed to be that Thai artists, at least, are going to very soon be getting paid the same amount of royalties as their Korean counterparts.
But like, I guess that's like one fun, interesting thing that I like. At least I like is that like they have friends. Like as this goes on, like we will get more. Like I think that the foreign idols will have more. They'll find ways to like protect themselves better, get better payment, and there will just be like more of them, and they won't have to be the weird foreign kids. But like at the moment, it's nice that they all have each other. Like there's only like 7 Thai idols, and they all like have groups group chats and like hang out. Like they're all like best friends.
Yeah, it is really sweet to see that like the non-Korean idols really across groups and across companies like do become very close friends. Like different Chinese idols have said like, oh, all of the Chinese idols know each other. We speak Korean to each other when we see each other in China. Like Yixing looks out for all of us.
Yes,
he's like the
their
guy, the
dad.
grandfather of all Chinese idols.
I think so. And like I also thought it was very interesting that that there's only 7 Japanese idols. There's 7.
Yeah.
And that's it. Which I'm surprised that there's Japanese idols at all, honestly, just because the like beef is so bad and you like still can't speak Japanese on Korean TV. Like there are still so many crazy Japan rules that I am like I'm surprised that there are 3 members of Twice that are Japanese because Twice is huge.
Yeah, but also like the Japanese market for K-pop is huge.
Yes, I mean it is. It like makes
despite
sense.
their history of, you know, complex relations, like Japan is one of Korea's biggest markets.
Sure, but I guess I just feel like those 7 Japanese idols are probably like the bravest, like just when it comes to like public like winning
Public
over the public.
personas.
But like I don't know,
Maybe.
people really like Gangnam for some reason, and he was like the first. MIB was the name of the boy band. I honestly like couldn't tell you what any of their songs were, but they have this one member named Gangnam, and he's just like been a TV star like for as long. Like everybody loves that guy. Like
Didn't we
he's
get
so
them as
wacky.
one of our random groups?
I don't think so. He was on Busted. He was the guy who just kept showing up as the part-time worker on like so many of the episodes. And they'd be like, it was you, that part. Like, he was in like 4 or 5 of the episodes. And he'd be like, you guys have to stop showing
Yeah,
up.
yeah, yeah.
I'm going to lose all my jobs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I do remember him, but also we definitely got his group as one of our random play games.
Really?
Yeah, I remember. I
Wow.
remember the music video.
I forgot. I erased it from my mind, I guess.
It wasn't one that we loved.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else to say about foreign K-pop idols other than that I love a lot of them, which leads to like heartbreak a lot. But
Yeah, it can be like beware if a foreign idol is your bias.
because you'll just get sad that you like never get to see them if they're busy in China.
Yeah, I mean they might have schedules in their own home countries. They might end up tied up with some absurd lawsuit. All kinds of
never know.
things could happen.
But anyway, we love all of the foreign idols, and we
Yeah,
appreciate
regardless
them.
of where you're from, we're glad you're here.
Thanks for doing K-pop. We love you. And yeah, we'll be back with our random game. Okay, we're back. And the random number generator was listening to us, and it knew exactly what we needed, I guess.
Such an appropriate
Shit. Try that again.
Yeah, it gave us such an appropriate group this time.
Yeah, so we got a group that debuted in 2012, and they were called Tasty.
Spelled just like you think it is.
And they were comprised of identical twin brothers.
Yes, 2 identical twins from China.
From China.
Yeah, so strange. It's like one of those glitch in the matrix
Yeah, it's like
moments.
exactly what
we were
talking about.
So now we have an entirely non-Korean group.
Yeah.
Tasty. They were under Woolim Entertainment. And
they started out as JYP trainees, did 5 years as JYP trainees, then left because as they cited in an interview, it was too hard to see people debuting. Like people who'd showed up after them getting to debut
before them. Yeah. So they left JYP and they ended up going to Woolim Entertainment, where they released just a few singles or a full. Did they ever release a full EP under Woolim?
Nope.
It looks like just 2 singles. But so they released a couple singles with Woolim Entertainment, and then eventually they decided to leave Woolim Entertainment in 2015 because they said, what did they say?
They said they were going back to China, and then Willem was like, they didn't tell us this. And it was like they announced that they were leaving, and then the company claimed that they had no idea that they were going to leave.
Oh, yeah. And I was just looking for the reason that they said that they were leaving, and the only reason that they gave was that they were dissatisfied with the management. But they did also say, like, hey, no, we told you guys that we were leaving.
Yeah, so they went back to China. They rebranded themselves as the Hanch Brothers and released an album in China in 2016. And that's the last anyone has heard of them. It looks like. So I don't know. I'm very curious to see.
It says that they're still presently active, but we'll see.
We'll see. So the video of theirs that is most popular is called You Know Me. And it has 1.6 million views. And I guess we should just
Here we go.
give it a shot. So here we go. Okay. They're in like black and white rooms with like abstract shapes just standing on them.
Oh. It's really trippy that they're twins. Because then you really are seeing the same face multiple times.
Yeah, it's not racist to say that their faces are the same. Their faces actually are the same.
So basically this whole video is just a box video. One of them is all in white and one of them is all in black. And they are just dancing in an empty room. And one of them is blonde.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's kind of a cute dance move. I did like that.
It is cute. This sounds like an early 2 p.m. Big Bang song. Very JYP. The dancing's pretty good though.
Yeah. I just can't. This is that just kind of like club music that feels like barely music to me.
It's very repetitive. But I like the choreography.
Yeah, no, they're good dancers and they're doing like cute stuff with the fact that there's two of them. We haven't said anything in forever. I've just been like zoned out, like, because they're just dancing in a white room and it's just like, okay.
Yeah, nothing like shocking is happening. Oh, those are different outfits.
Yeah.
But even the outfits haven't been that outrageous.
But I also feel like they've been like the camera angle and the shot changes so often. I kind of can't tell what they look like.
No, I can't either. I haven't gotten a good look at either of their faces.
Because they just are zipping around. Okay.
Alrighty. That was tasty.
That was tasty.
I'd be interested to know if all of their songs sound like that, if that's like their general style, or if they do other stuff. Because one of their songs was written by Hoya and who else? From
Dongwoo from Infinite H.
From Infinite H. So that was their other most popular song, Ma Ma Ma. So I wonder if that one's maybe a little bit more melodic.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That was interesting. But that song we just listened to got to 80 on the chart and Ma 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 got to 61. So neither of them are really that popular, but interesting. Well, that was tasty.
That was tasty. Now they only promote in China. So good luck, Tasty.
Good luck, Tasty. Recommendations for the week.
You should go
I can go first. I was trying to think of something and I was inspired to pick this because of Sweet Soren, who we talked about earlier. There's a whole series of videos, so I'm recommending like a whole series of videos. And this is called Jinho Magazine Ho, which is a series that Jinho from Pentagon has been doing for the last like year or so, where he releases videos of him doing covers, mostly of like English Western songs. And he recently did We Don't Talk Anymore with Soren from CLC. And all of the videos are good. My favorite one is probably When I Was Your Man, that like Bruno Mars cover. Because like that is a song and like he can sing and it's like so good. But they're all really good. He's
And doesn't
just so
he do
good.
one with Hong Sok?
Yes.
Which is the one that he does with Hong Sok? I like
Chris
that one.
Brown, I'm pretty sure. I'm going to look it up, though, because I want to know. Oh, no, that's not true.
I knew it was Sam Smith.
Yes, they did Lay Me Down by Sam Smith. I think with
that one's my
Kino, he
favorite.
did a Chris Brown, and they filmed it in the cafe in the Cube building.
Oh.
They're just like in there, like walking and doing like a steady cam, like walking in circles. But anyway, they all have like different production values. Some are just them sitting at a piano. Some are like filmed. But there's like, I don't know. I
There's
don't
a
know.
whole bunch of them, and they're all beautiful. and
They're
great.
all beautiful. So that's my recommendation. Any and all episodes of Jinho Magazine Ho. Check it out on YouTube.
Good choice. Great recommendation. I'm going to recommend something kind of random, but I just found it today on my iTunes or on my, what am I saying? On my phone. Many moons ago, we, in our random play game, found a group called TST, Top Secret.
Yes.
And we really liked their song. I think it was called She.
Yes.
And so I bought that EP. It was called Time's Up. And I found it on my phone today. I was like, oh, yeah, I forgot that I bought that. I wonder if that's good. It is good. The entire EP is good. I really do like it. But I'm going to recommend specifically their last song on it, which is called Without You.
Okay.
Because after doing so much research into like the economics of K-pop, the sad truth is that most of these K-pop idols like are not being paid what they should be being paid, especially those like lesser known groups that are not from the big three and are from like more mid-level companies. So this week's recommendation is a shout out to all those mid-level company idols. You guys are working real hard, Top Secret, and I hope that you are still working hard and will eventually break even and start making some money for yourselves.
Yeah.
So Without You, Top Secret. Do them a solid and buy it.
There you go.
It's like 99 cents.
And more on that next week when we finally get to our long teased contractual
Contract
dispute.
disputes. Dun, dun, dun.
Hopefully, I mean, it will probably be just as depressing as this episode was. So I hope that next time we can hit you guys with something really fun. We just like, we have a big list of things we want to do episodes about, and we keep putting off the depressing stuff. And now we've left ourselves with like a pile of upsetting episodes that we have to do because K-pop, like all things, has a dark side. Like nothing is fun. Everything has to like be not fun under the surface. So like we got to get to that. So hang in with us. I promise it's all still fine. Like we all still like this music. It's all fine, but it's not fine. If you would like to find us, we're all over the internet at AMA K-Pop Pod on Instagram and Twitter, AMA K-Pop Pod at tumblr.com for links, AMA K-Pop Pod at gmail.com if you want to send us an email. And we are now on YouTube. Ask Me About K-Pop Podcast on YouTube. I'm having snags in trying to get the whole show uploaded to YouTube because podcasting is the Wild West where nobody pays attention to anything. And YouTube is not that. So my episodes keep getting pulled for using music I'm not allowed to use. So
Oh, dear.
We'll see. I'll get as many of them up as I can, but some of them are getting pulled down. But anyway, that's that. That's where you can find us, and we will see you all next week. Goodbye.
Bye.
Chonghyun, your inspiration.